Hello, my name's host Eric, and I'm the host talking to famous people, and I'm talking to, I'll change this later, who I think of as the guy with the kid and the housekeeper who intentionally tricked me into thinking it was an ESTP. That's what I think of you guys. That's how I identify you in my head. And then also the guy who displayed the difference between how types know their own in ways that you can't know other types. So like when Zachary at the end of that, he didn't understand what you had done there at all. He didn't realize that that those answers were crafted specifically to get me to go ESTP. You know,
It worked pretty well.
it worked great. Of course it did. It didn't fool Zachary, but
Well,
it fooled me.
I'd never played this game before. That was my first trial run, and it worked pretty good. So I was pleased with that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think it has to do with the fact that your answers were designed to fool me, and somehow they didn't fool Zachary because he looks at the ENTP behaviors from a different angle a little bit. You know.
He was kind of still fooled after I had revealed myself.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he kind of tried to bat that ball around the court a little bit, that maybe I was still an ISTP.
Oh,
or
that's
an
why.
ESTP.
That's why. That's what I mean. Why he didn't get what you had done, right?
Oh, right, yeah. It wasn't as obvious to him once. Right.
So okay, I made this video a while back saying I want to talk to you again because you're the only person I've encountered who's an ENTP and older, or at least in the stage of life where you have a kid, and a woman around, and like adulthood.
She does watch facial expressions during movies, by the way.
Oh, she watches. You mean the other person's facial expressions rather than the movies thing?
Yeah, the people that she's watching with. Ever since you pointed that out, I was kind of watching her, and she's looking, to see if I think that part of Scooby-Doo is funny too.
Right. I suspect she's an ENTP. I don't know. I can see it in her eyes or something, or smell it. I can smell it over the internet. I mean, she really reminds me of what Delilah looked like and her just general bearing as Delilah was at her age. And so
I popped off a screenshot of when we're all the screens are on there, and it's kind of funny because you're both looking at each other with the same look in your eyes. Like you just come back and seen her, and she just saw you, and you both got that fresh meat look in your eyes.
So, look, I mean, the thing is, I'm obviously making a lot of videos and being very public about my own challenges with this personality type, which tends to correlate with this bullshit diagnosis of ADHD. But do you have any relationship with that diagnosis from either being?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been diagnosed as, actually when I took the test, I think I was probably 20, and I knew the pie of class 2s at the end of the rainbow, but I didn't lie at all, actually. And the guys looked at the paper, the psychiatrist, and looked up at me, and he kind of said, everybody comes to college and thinks they have ADHD, and most of them don't, and you absolutely do. Okay.
Do they give you drugs?
So what's my surprise? Yeah, the 30 milligram time release, 2 a day at first.
They give you
Holy
60 milligrams to start out?
60 milligrams to start out, and then we waddled the 60 into instant release. And then when Vyvanse came out, he goes, hey, let's try Vyvanse. It's this new ADHD medication that's just like the old one, but it's harder to abuse, which, of course, even if you're not abusing it, makes you go shit.
Yeah, I know. Well,
but that didn't last very long. That lasted about, 2 days.
Okay, I need to talk to him. All right, wait. What? All right, I've been on Vyvanse for a year now, and explain to me the difference between Adderall and Vyvanse.
It's like decaf and coffee.
How so? I would imagine since they're both stimulants, they would both have the physically calming effect that I have with stimulants. But so
Vyvanse didn't really do anything to me. I mean, it did a little bit at first, but then after about 2 or 3 days, like I said, I'd take a couple of them and do my nap thing and then not wake up. It literally didn't do anything.
All right, so what's the difference in that and the Adderall?
Adderall does stuff.
How long have you been on?
12 years in running, Adderall works.
Listen, let me tell you something. You know Adderall works, Trenton, because of the following thing. If you continue to take it and like at the wrong time, so to speak, you can easily stay up for 3 full nights.
That crash is pretty rough, but yeah, you can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that you ought to. I'm not saying that it's a good idea. I'm saying that that's a real drug with power, that it can say to your most natural fundamental need to sleep, get out of the way. I'm
And
busy.
eat.
I have a very serious thing though.
Sleep,
Like,
eat, and procreate. It will kill sleeping and eating. You'll be procreating as much as you can, but
okay, here's something. Personal about the procreating thing. I can take my Vyvanse and literally like masturbate for 4 hours straight.
Yeah, you should try meth. If you want an extended, if you want an
try-
extended
you should
masturbation
get friends to
session.
do that with you. It's better if you got a buddy.
Yeah, probably it is. But the thing is, she needs to be on speed too, otherwise it gets weird. So the point is, don't,
Yeah,
look,
it is.
yeah, joking. Obviously, don't try meth. But that's something
There's-
that
it's like-
meth heads are famous for, is sitting and masturbating for like 12 hours, and I don't even want to go any further than that. So the point is,
Porn addiction.
yeah,
Well, there's no
Adderall's,
place further to go.
Adderall's way better. And the thing is, all you got to do, Trenton, once you take the Adderall, is start a task. Ideally, you start the task you want to start. Ideally, once you start it, you're gonna roll through it until you're done with it, basically.
Okay, I have one thing. I want to say one thing. I want to get out of the way. I've been wanting to say it about ADHD. Okay, from a young age, I think it has to be a TI thing because I do not demonize people who abuse drugs or anything like that. Anybody who even uses them recreationally. I have nothing like that in my head, but I implemented a very strict protocol in terms of what drugs I take at a young age because of what I was surrounded by. And it's difficult for me to move on from it to change my schedule in terms of medication because of that thing. So is it possible, I just feel like in my head, because I was told that, yeah, here's Vyvanse, and it's not as dangerous as Adderall, I was more apt to believe that because of my experiences with the medication.
You need to try Adderall because you don't have anything to compare it against, right? So you don't have the perspective to make any reasonable conclusions against it. You need to tell the doctor that. You say, look, I am not sure, in fact, if I do need to take Adderall or not, but I have talked to, recently, fellow ADHD medication prescribees who have their own experience as a part of this personality thing. We tend to think that it correlates with this ENTP personality type. They're all telling me that I need to take the right drug and that this is not the right drug for me. And so what I am asking you, Mr. Dr. Mann, is to allow me at least the opportunity to have the perspective to determine which of these drugs is going to be more effective for me. In the status quo, doctor, you are not allowing me to make any sort of informed medical decision about my own body, my own well-being, and my own health because I have no perspective from which to decide between.
Well, I've been on Adderall before, but it was just a booster, like a 10 milligram booster for my Vyvanse, and that was all I was ever on.
Well,
And I took it once a day.
Okay, well then you need to save them up or something, dude. So you take like 6 of them at once. So.
Is it possible to become? Is it easier or less easy? Well, are people who have ADHD more likely to become addicted to stimulant medication?
I think it makes it impossible for us to become addicted to it. I mean, we might become like really accustomed to taking it. Having been really accustomed to taking methamphetamine for 4 years, I smoked meth for 4 years. A meth addict, right?
Yeah.
And despite that, smoking it too, like glass pipes. My house full of glass pipes, and despite that, I never had the sort of addiction collapse with meth that my meth buddies had. They all had it, right? Like there's two people basically were my meth buddies, and their lives completely fell apart. But for me, I had never experienced any sort of ADD medication before. I was just so happy that I could get shit done. I was just like,
Yeah,
oh my God, I'm writing a novel, and I'm recording an album, I'm doing all this other stuff, yada, 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 yada. Hooray, 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 I'm so free, thank you, meth.
Yeah.
But, what I really needed was Adderall, not meth. Adderall's better.
from a young, like when I was in high school and shit, I would be so ashamed of myself for not being able to focus long enough to do work and stuff. And then when I started taking my Vyvanse, it was like, this is fucking amazing. I can feel validated at all. I can feel like anything I do is like, I feel like I'm actually completing something, and it feels great.
Okay,
I
so
don't know,
good,
just-
yeah. So
my
try
Vyvanse-
Adderall so you get
so
the
that's like-
full blast feeling. So let me ask Taylor here a couple more questions because I want to talk to him. And I'm not. The funny thing, of course, is do you identify with this? All this shit that I wanted to talk to you about when I wanted to talk to you is not the mood I'm in right now, and so it's like I have to come back to that mood to actually talk to you about those things. Do you know what I'm saying? Or do you feel as though mood directs interest?
Hear me?
Well, I can't hear
Can
you.
you see and hear me?
Oh, there, now I can. Your timing is off with the video and the sound, but that's fine.
So you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the question?
How much time do you spend considering like your purpose or direction in life? 0?
Very little.
What do you think about instead?
But you're
Or
Right
can
now,
you, turn,
I'm
can you
focused
turn
that we
off your
forgot about.
video? If you turn off your video, your
Fucking
audio
the
will
hell out of me.
probably resolve. Okay. So the thing is, for me,
Better?
yeah, I mean, I think so. My experience is one of I tend to muse a lot about metaphysical things, and I suspect it's a general sense of I want there to be a solution to tragedy in general. I want there to be a solution that makes everything fair or something. It makes things. I don't like the idea of death eventually looming and grabbing me. How do you feel about death? Okay, well, I suspect he's having connectivity problems. So I'm not sure if that's the time of day or, whatever. I apologize for the interruption to the viewers at home. But let's go ahead and stop this video, and then we will start another one. We've got more people arrived in the room, and perhaps that conversation with Taylor can be reserved for